Hi, welcome to Yarny.
Yeah, I don't know if we're here or not.
I think we're here. It's Yarny time.
Can you see us? Can you hear us? Are we live? Are we here?
Yeah, all of your friends are talking about how long
it's all happening right now.
Yeah, I'm going to call it a bad run. I'm going to say 11 minutes in.
You're giving yourself 11 minutes?
So halfway through chapter 2.
For those of us who don't know, every run is a bad run.
Yeah, our world record was a bad run. Hi, everybody.
They're not actually bad runs.
I'm Ray.
I'm Ryan.
He's Ryan,
yeah.
actually.
And this is Unravel 2, which is a wonderful, wonderful game. And we're going to play it real fast now. So...
Emma and Mudsky are on comms because they are the best humans.
The freaking Metatron and the freaking Mudsky doing commentary for us tonight. Without further ado, let's do it. We will have just a few seconds before we get to the ability to pause, at which point...
We're going to need to know our colors. Please tell me it's not black.
If it's black, I swear to God, I will walk away.
Don't make me play this over.
You are in luck. Nobody has stepped in to snipe it. Blue and magenta are your colors.
Yes!
I spoke it into existence earlier when I painted my nails. I was praying. So happy.
Alright, so let's do that. Oh, you're going to have to do something with your controller. There you go.
Okay, I'm staying this blue.
And there we go.
There we go. Dacia.
That's what they look like right now. It looks a little bit different in the menu. I'm going to look pretty purple most of the time.
They really change with the lighting.
But, yeah.
Because this game is beautiful.
And this opening cutscene is about a minute long, after which point Metatron and Mutsky will do a countdown from 3, and the timer will start, and we will start the run.
So how long have you been running this game?
Maybe 4 months?
Not even. You introduced us to this game in May, and I want to say we started running it late May, early June, something like that. It's not very long at all. It's come a long way in a very short amount of time.
When you've never seen this game and you like things that are wholesome, then you will like this game.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, we are ready when you guys are.
Emma, get ready for the countdown.
Oh no. All right, in 3, 2, 1, go.
You'll notice the first thing I guess we should mention is this little pixie that kind of glows. That kind of feeds the path of the direction that they're going to be traveling through some puzzles. Overall, this game is certainly, somewhere in the wheelhouse of platform puzzler. And this guy is kind of like the guide throughout, and you'll kind of see that it'll progress the further every time that they catch up and touch it wherever it is currently at as kind of like the checkpoint. And so if you're ever wondering where we're going, you kind of keep your eye on that and have a general idea.
Did the timer not start?
No, timer's going.
Okay, because mine started, so we're good.
So the main tech in this game that they're going to use is called zooping. This is something that Pokawix, who's in the chat, he discovered, him and his co-op partner, and they said that they found it in their casual playthrough and just blew the rest of the leaderboard out of the water with this trick because it saves a ton of time over the run. And since finding it, it's definitely come a long way, and we've found different ways and different areas to use it. So that's the main thing that you're going to be seeing from these two is zoops. And I guess I don't really know how to explain it. I guess the
game has a mechanic that is designed for the co-op play in which one character can break off from the other or vice versa, join up and can join into one character, which you'll see them do. And the way that the zoop more or less operates is that they're able to toggle that option from really far apart, thus allowing one that's not adjacent to the other character, and they kind of launch towards them, kind of like a projectile. So if you watch here, you'll kind of see throughout the entire run, you'll kind of see one of them will do this mechanic, and it will basically kind of propel the one character really, really far, and you can use it to kind of maneuver through and around and even skip some puzzles entirely. Projectile yarn, exactly. That's took
Yes.
the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. And
The best. Hey, the one thing. Sorry, the one thing. Last thing I'll say about the Zoop in general is that like speedrun communities constantly like struggle to come up with reasons to name their tricks. And Pokey named it the Zoop because he imagined that if it made a sound, that the sound it would make is Zoop, which is, in my opinion, the greatest way to name any trick. So if you're ever at a loss for how to name something, that is definitely the strat.
That's what I was just gonna say too. So here you're gonna see a Zoop, and they're gonna kind of clip through that rock a little bit to just save a little bit of time. And sometimes in this game you have to be a little bit careful with Zoops because you can get tangled on random objects or sometimes what seems like absolutely nothing. So that's the only downside with Zooping, is that in some places it's a bit risky, but you know, it saves a lot of time, so you've just got to be careful with it. And this first level here is basically just like a tutorial level. It's showing you all the different mechanics of the game. So there's really not like a ton going on. Nothing really like super puzzly.
Some of the like more basic intended mechanics, you can see that there's these little hatches that have arrows on them, which they're able to climb on. You saw that there was this little glowing circle, which they could throw a lasso at and then swing themselves from. And the mechanic that you just saw that you'll see again here, there are little notches on the ground that they're able to tie knots on that you'll see them use throughout the run.
I don't know if they use them anymore, actually. They may have gotten them all with Zoops now. So this is a kind of a newer way that they are using Zoops, which is like a, what do you call them?
We're calling it a Zoop shift. So
Zoop
basically,
shift.
I'm not playing right now. The idea is that when you Zoop, one person comes to the other. But if I'm coming, he can cancel me, and I'll just stop here so I can grab something that's higher. Whatever movement this one is doing is mirrored here. So if he Zoops and I move right, then it also moves him back. So that gets him height against that wall. I have to go play again, but that's the idea. It kind of moves you up and keeps you on the wall, and you can just start a wall jump a lot higher than normal.
Kind of upset you didn't have a diorama planned to pull out at that exact moment in the run. Would have
My
been
hands
perfect.
aren't good enough for you?
I want a construction.
It's not a science fair.
I don't think anybody ever accused Ray of being too arts and craftsy.
So you'll see some zooping here and kind of get an idea of just how far that they're able to kind of catch from. But if you play the game normally, unless you adjust some of the options, in this case the auto grab option, you won't be able to do that, which was the biggest reason why nobody had really found it out right away, because the auto grab function is kind of intuitive to have on when you're playing casually, so we never turned it off. And it wasn't until Pokey had played and messed around with it and discovered it that anyone had really started using it without that option.
I'm just gonna.
Do you guys hate swimming? Because we do too.
Oh,
so,
no.
well, maybe not. There you go. So we can actually skip this in, well, a little bit of this area anyway, with another Zoop to get up there and grab onto the ladder and into the bucket.
This
Nothing
part
but
reminds
net.
me of I had a school friend named Noah who had a dog who was called Bucket, and this always reminds me of
What a
their
great name for a
dog.
dog.
Wow. Yeah. So, incoming long cutscene in the beginning here. This is the one I think you can't skip, right? Is this
Yeah,
one?
this is the only
Yeah.
big cutscene that we still watch.
Yeah, so I guess we could talk a little bit too about the version differences. Well, I don't know if you want to call it a version difference, but this game comes on, I think, every console and PC. And so we originally were running it on PC because we thought that it was the fastest version, because in the PC version, the load times are much quicker, which I think is most of the time true for like any game. And we also found out that skipping each cutscene, like you'll have these cutscenes that's in between each level that you can skip on the PC version. And so you can skip them in the PC version and it saves you time. On a PS4, it is actually slower for you to to save and quit and like skip the cutscenes, it's faster just to like watch them through just because the load times are so slow. But Ryan and Ray, I think, are you guys playing on your PS4?
No, this is PC.
No. Oh, this is PC. Okay. So there's the fastest version that we know right now is the PS4 Pro, right, with a SD with a solid state drive. And because we found out that the actual game moves faster, so like the cutscenes move faster, and I think that's about like there's just the game in general moves faster. There's little movement things that are different where like the Yarnies will move a little bit faster.
There's something funny with the jump animation is what we're pretty sure that's what it is, which you'll see us we bunny hop basically constantly instead of just walking. On the PC that doesn't make a big difference.
It makes a big deal if you're going uphill, and that's about it.
On console, for some reason, and we're pretty sure it has to do with the jump animation, you just move faster. You do, and that's why the gameplay is quicker on consoles. So even though you have slower load times with the PS4 Pro and a solid state drive installed,
we still skip all the cutscenes.
The load times are fast enough that it's still advantageous to skip them.
All right, so this puzzle here gets skipped. Usually you're supposed to push that box one way and whatever back the other way, and it's a whole thing, but they just skip the whole thing with a zoop. And they both stood in that like sparkly thing. There was one on the bed and one on the table, and it starts this cutscene. You'll see that a few times throughout the run as well. There's a bunch of those in this game. And this level has a ton of zooping. I guess every level does really, but I feel like this one has like way more.
And yes, Steve, to answer your question, this is a bad run.
Did you make it 11? No, you made it 9 minutes? Man. You tried.
One thing to note, if you guys in the chat are unfamiliar with the game in general and like to pay attention as they're occurring, you'll notice that there's some this one has the longest intro cutscene, but there's some cutscenes at the beginning of each level and kind of strewn throughout the levels. There is genuinely a narrative to this game, and it's actually a pretty hard-hitting story that it's really easy to kind of lose paying attention to when you're playing and just trying to platform. That the Yarnies are actually helping these children out along the way of the story, and it's quite good.
Yeah, the dev said in an interview, I read this interview once, but the dev said that the game overall is about like kind of friendship and helping each other out. And so you can see here we call these things cigarettes. These are the adults, and they're dark black smoke, and they turn into these like little sparks that can kill you if you touch them. And so they're kind of seen as like the evil things in this game. And you'll see the children in the back. And like you saw them already at the beginning of the level, but you'll see them in the background sometimes doing things and trying to like run away from these adults. So anytime you see those sparkly things, those are bad things, which apparently are adults. So.
And a lot of the time, the puzzles that we're solving are actually somehow to help the kids get through something so they can be safe.
And we're also cleaning up the kids' messes all the time, too. There's a few times that the kids do some stuff that doesn't end how they intended, and the Yarnies are there to clean that up. There's also a lot of adorable wildlife in this game. So if you like animals, this game is like it's the dream. This doesn't get any better than this.
You'll see a frog and a hedgehog for sure.
There's birds. There's pigeons already. There's more pigeons.
Turkey.
Look at that.
There's a moose and a horse, but I'm not sure which is which.
There's a global Twitch emote.
It's both.
There's a global turkey emote on Twitch.
We're gonna need that later.
You'll want that in a little while, just FYI.
And if you like frogs, if you're a fan of Winky from Donkey Kong Country,
Donkey Kong, this is him hop.
He's right here. Look at
he is. Look at him hop.
There's also a cat
Oh, a
back
skeleton
there
cat in
the
the background.
So we're running the no major skips category. We actually just separated that out from any % in the last month. So we aren't doing anything that takes you out of bounds. If you ever want to run any %, especially solo, this skateboard right here is going to be the worst part of your life.
It's definitely one of the coolest skips in the game, though. Like, essentially, you can by using both Yarnies and positioning them in such a way that the tension between the two of them, like, pulls off. It's hard to explain. Off of the side of the half pipe, you're able to basically launch the skateboard straight in the air, and then, on a upward right diagonal towards the end of the level, effectively skipping the entire level. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And it looks hilarious.
Yeah, it's great.
'Cause you just see the skateboard and Yarnies just go flying.
And
great.
that puzzle that they just skipped there is actually like one of the longer ones in the run. And with the help of Zoops, we can skip the whole thing, which is pretty nice.
It's fantastic.
Thank you, Zoops.
We have the technology.
And this too, another terrible screen for some reason. These nets just act really strangely sometimes, and you'll get like stuck on one and you'll hit the ground sometimes for no reason, and I don't know. It's kind of a pain. So you can skip those too with Zoops yet again.
Someone in chat asked us the other day if we still do any puzzles correctly, and I'm like,
There's a couple.
maybe 2.
But no, we've pretty effectively broken this game.
It's great. Dev said that there is something else that we haven't found yet, and I don't know if they're being serious or if they're just trying to make me angry.
Anders, I need you to know that earlier today we were talking about food in this here Midwest Speedfest chat, and Canes came up. So you and Helix can talk Canes if you want. He is a fellow connoisseur.
Oh, was it Helix? Is that
Yeah.
what it was?
I also should just note that the developers of this game are also very friendly. Like they've kind of popped in and have talked to a couple of us at a couple of points, and they've been very cool. And I think they genuinely really like the speedrunning of the game. Like the game has a built-in like trophies or Steam achievements, and each level has like a speedrunning achievement. So it's clearly it has had some design in mind to challenge you to try to beat each level as you can. So it's been pretty cool to kind
We've
of
actually had several people,
be able to talk to them a little bit.
Several people have come into the Discord in the last couple months to be like, I cannot get the gold on this level. I don't want to speedrun it, but I want the trophy. How do I do it?
Yeah, the gold for every level is surprisingly difficult to achieve.
For which one?
For all of them, but especially this one.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I think this one is the hardest for sure. Yeah,
Especially
for the medals.
if you're playing it solo, it's really hard.
There's just a lot of stuff that takes a lot of time, especially if you are unfamiliar with a lot of the unintended tech that the game has. Obviously, it takes considerably longer.
Yeah, this the devs have even joined, or a couple of them anyway, have joined the speedrun Discord, and they were pretty excited when they found out that people did this with the game, just put all these hours into it and all this time into it and effort to speedrun it. So they were pretty excited about it, which is cool. And they've been super supportive of basically the entire community, both in Discord, on Twitch, and Twitter. They're really cool people, and I mean, they made such a fantastic game, and we just talk it up all the time, so I'm sure that that's part of the reason why. But yeah, this game's pretty fantastic. So I mean, this is the kind of game too that you could play with you can play it by yourself too if you wanted. There is definitely a solo speedrun category, and you can also play with
people like Riles that don't have anybody to play with.
Riles is this guy's brother.
There's there's something for everybody. That's all I meant.
It's also really great if you have one person who really wants to play and one person who is like me and I'm not a speedrunner, because a lot of this game I'm not playing. Because you can play, I can just be on him for a lot of it, and he can kind of I can check chat and drink my water, eat my Oreos.
Oreos. So you will see, Chapter 2 had the first taste of these, the little things that are on fire. We call them cigarettes. We haven't died yet, but you can die. And it just reloads a checkpoint. It's not a huge deal if you die, but you do lose time. We do have the world record in this category right now. I have never, ever had a deathless run. So I'm going to put this out there right now.
Why would you say this out loud?
When we're done, I will donate $10 for every death that we have, which shouldn't be that rich. I'm hoping it's not going to be more than like 5 or 6. The lowest I've ever had is 1. Our world record has 1 death, but there can also be like a dozen all on the same screen. So $10 for every death at the end. Somebody keep me honest and keep count. If anybody wants to join me on that, feel free. That was a really good chapter 2.
Donate how much for a 0 death run? Oh, that's a good question. Indy 4 log skip. Ugh. That's
Hey!
chapter 6. That's a long way from now. That was gold?
That was a gold chapter 2,
gold
by the way.
chapter 2, fam? Let's go! It was a bad chapter 1. Don't get excited.
So that was our first cutscene skip. I quit to the start menu and then reloaded the file, and we didn't have to watch the cutscene in between the chapters.
So at the end of chapter 1, we found the lighthouse. And now we are like working our way up the lighthouse, and we're trying to restore the light to the lighthouse. So after every chapter, it like reveals more of the lighthouse that becomes available to you, and that's what that long cutscene is. So if instead you finish the chapter and then quit and reload it, it knows that you've already finished that chapter and that the next chapter should be available, so you don't have to watch it load in.
Mm-hmm. Emil, we will be doing log roll skip, or as Riles has affectionately renamed it, fire walking. And Meowsticks, $100.
$100?
$100. If we go deathless, $100. That work for you? We won't. Don't worry.
Don't get excited.
It's like 400 Wendy's McNuggets. Wait, Wendy's McNuggets? Oh no. I screwed up.
Oh, I made it.
Made it. I assume checkpoint reloads don't count as deaths.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think they count as deaths. Like, just stupid tangles that we have no control over.
I'll leave that up to other people.
I think that's more of a soft lock than it is a death.
So here's some more frogs.
There's also a very important animal on the screen.
These frogs were degenerates, if you can't tell. They have this wild party. There's some cake.
I can't believe they knocked over that bench.
Here we go. Everyone ready?
This box, I just like don't understand what it's doing there. It's just kind of like very out of
I
place.
think it helps you get up to one of the like bonus things.
Shout out to Zelda.
I just meant in general.
Hedgehog. Cute baby hedgehog.
There's a bug. Look, there's all sorts of animals in this game. Hedgehog, bug, frog in like 30 seconds.
Who dragged all the drum kit out here, by the way?
I don't know, man. Ooh.
What kind of party was this?
Kind that Zelda showed up to, apparently. Getting wild.
Boo. You're off of me?
Yep.
Cool. Weird speedrunning tech. Be separate here, because it takes about 2 seconds instead of 10. If you're merged together like this, that scene is just really long for some reason.
There's a couple of parts in the game that it kind of acts really strangely depending on what status you're in for some reason. It's weird. I just kind of figured it out just via noticing it, I guess, mostly.
Yeah, there's a lot of trial and error discovery in this game.
Well, and the whole speedrun community has been so amazing. Like, if you are at all interested in running this, please come join the Discord, and everyone answers every question, and we share, like, everything that we ever find is someone just posted in there, and then we all build on it from there. It's been really amazing.
Ray and I have a video tutorial for this category.
It's a little out of date.
It's a little out of date. We actually plan on remaking it probably this week. But there's a YouTube video tutorial that'll get you started if you're at all interested. And it is a great game to speedrun. I really, really enjoy running this game. Clearly.
But also, yeah, like Meowstick says in chat, it's also wonderful to play casually. And like I said, even if one of you isn't super into gaming, he can run all the hard platforming stuff, and I don't have to stress about it. It's great.
Okay, y'all have your global turkey emotes ready?
Turkey. Because it is time for a turkey.
What time?
Thanksgiving came early this year.
It's
It's in
turkey
August now.
Turkey time.
Yeah. These are the dumbest turkeys in the world.
Actually based on a real live turkey who was very terrifying.
Apparently.
Yeah, I think that was the best part of the entire game, is that a real turkey is the inspiration for this monster.
Was it not like actually turkey? It was
It
like
wasn't
something.
actually a
Well,
turkey.
it was a grouse,
It was
which
a
is
grouse.
type
It's
of turkey.
a grouse, yeah, which is like a type of
Nice.
Finally.
similar-ish.
I got the fast
Okay, stop jumping. Stop jumping. Okay.
This is the one.
You to MVP. Duncan Dunk. Yeah.
Anyway, the turkey will eat you if you can.
Yes.
So don't let the turkey get you. Oh my god, I'm so happy to see so many turkeys in chat. Thank you. We have an FFZ emote on our channel that's a turkey saying, "Her her." It's fantastic.
Shout outs to Mutsky for teaching me this skip. Usually that turkey's facing the other direction and you have to trick it, but it's also very dumb.
Also, is this the best music in the game?
Yes.
The bold.
Yeah, one of the nice things about this game too, in the community in general, is that there's a lot of people who are like very dedicated to like finding strats and playing this game and kind of like, I don't know, grinding it out, I guess. So Mutsky and I ran this last summer and then had to stop just because we don't live in the same place anymore, and this is a couch co-op game. And since then, this run has come insanely far.
Well, what was your time
people
last
like,
summer?
sorry?
What was your time last summer? Like 120 or something?
Oh, I have no idea. 118, I think, 116, something like that. But yeah, there's tons of people in the community, like Lou Core, he does like a ton of work on this game. Rip and Siebes found a ton of like out of bounds stuff, and there have been basically like the main drivers for the any % category. Poke obviously found lots of stuff too, including like the biggest techies in the game, like we said earlier, the Zoops. Am I forgetting anybody? I hope not. It's a very small community. There's like maybe like 10 active runners across the categories. So
You say 10 active runners, I say 10 legends. Everybody that runs this game actively is a legend.
Agreed. Mutsky and Metatron are the former world record holders for this game in the co-op category. The first time we bopped them, I think it was a 115. And now it's 105.07. So, and that was what, 3 months ago, maybe?
Yeah, so it's come a long way recently.
There's been a lot of very active development.
I just retired and started playing a real game like Pong the next level. I had to focus on the Pong.
Oh my gosh. There we go.
Finally.
Oh, there we go. Phew. Zipping. No, we don't use any partner swings. So, partner swings are if one of you holds on to an attachment point and then the second person holds on to that person, right? Instead of both of you holding on to where you're supposed to. And that tech is allowed in the no major skips run, but we don't do it.
Because we're really bad at it.
Because we're terrible at it. So if you do exactly what we do, but also use those in Chapter 5 in the factory, you're going to beat us. Congratulations.
Yeah, there's really
we gave up on learning them long ago.
There's really only one place that the partner swings are useful in this category. In the true any % category, they're hecka useful. Because you can add a fling onto the end of it and just skip major portions of levels. But we don't do that. It's too hard for us.
It's too hard for us.
is now okay to plug some new incentives that just opened up?
Yes, please.
Go for it.
All right. We have 4 new incentives for everybody to go donate towards. The SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated audio language is the first one. The Super Mario RPG file name, you can choose that. The Super Mario Maker 2 character bid war between Luigi, Mario, Toad, or Toadette. And finally, the Metroid Prime 2 Echoes Hear the Words of Olier cutscene. I'd also like to remind people that the Super Mario 64 input display is almost met, and that is coming up in a few hours. We've got some time, but it only needs $20 left. And the Mega Man Extreme 2 Revisited Story Bid War is also up for grabs between the 100% Zero mission or the any % X mission. So, get your donations in.
That was weird.
So there's actually a little small cutscene skip here that thing they just flung over. If you land on it, you get a small cutscene of a bunch of seagulls flying by. But I think it was Mutsky and I skipped it by accident one day, and I was like, I think something was supposed to happen here, and it didn't. And we discovered that, yes, if you do not land on that piece of land, you will not get the cutscene. It's probably like 5 whole seconds, but you know.
One of those things I didn't even realize that it happened until Emma had mentioned it, because like it's not very long.
Yeah.
And then we would just get it sometimes, and other times we wouldn't, and then we kind of figured out where the trigger was, and that you could just bypass it. And there's a couple of other things that kind of operate similarly later on, which is cool.
Yeah.
And
Or frogs.
We learned the run from watching Emma and Mutsky's runs, and we didn't even realize there was a cutscene there. Until one time they were in our chat, and Emma was like, "You almost got the cutscene." I was like, "What cutscene? What are you talking about?"
This section is probably one of my favorites in the run. We have Billy Bass coming to try to eat you. I don't know why all the animals in this game like to eat yarn. I feel like that would be disgusting and a weird texture, but you can see him flopping around in the background sometimes, but he's gonna come. There he is. And he chases you throughout the end of this level, and your goal is to just not get eaten. So it requires a lot of, like, I mean, you can still kind of have, like, decent movement, but I think in our first playthrough, we definitely got eaten a ton by
In our first playthrough,
Billy.
we stood in that little lily pad section for so long that I took a bathroom break, because we couldn't figure it out.
We didn't know you were supposed to jump on the fish's back.
I was like, peace, I'm leaving, bye.
Dude, if there's a fish sitting there, jump on him.
You never said we were smart.
But I guess that also brings up another good point too about this game is sometimes like the way that you swing actually matters a bit too. You can see sometimes that Ryan and Ray will like let go of their swing a little bit early, and sometimes it's very useful because it will launch you further and a little bit faster. Whereas like if you see them like doing a swing like that where they go up, it's a little bit slower, but it's obviously necessary in some places.
Really, any swing that's, north of 3 o'clock is gonna lose quite a bit of velocity, and if you swing kind of on, between 3 and 6, you'll go quite a bit faster. And so
yeah,
it depends if you need to get height or not.
They just skipped an entire puzzle there, which was like another pretty long puzzle.
That's
which
another
took forever to figure out. And this is something that we actually found by accident. Bunsky and I were running this game, and I went up and dropped the brick when he was just happened to be standing in the right spot in that level, and it launched him up. And we skipped like the whole puzzle basically. And other people in the community took that and made it better, and made it so that because we got onto like the first platform with ours, and they made it so that they can get onto the second platform. Because I think we still had to do a little bit of something to get up the full way if we did it, but
yeah, so if you didn't get enough animals, that was called a goose. So we're just
Don't trust anything that man says.
God, I love this game.
He's just so lovely. Especially 3 and 4 both are just really wholesome and like
Three
heartwarming.
and 4 are the only likable chapters.
Likeable.
All of the other chapters are evil in their own special way.
Yeah, this game has, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's obvious to some people, but the devs are all like Nordic. I think they're from like Sweden and Denmark. They're Swedish, yeah. So I think, but you can hear it a lot, I think, in the music in this game. It's fantastic. The entire soundtrack is just so good, and it fits each level perfectly. But yeah, I think that's where you get a lot of that like wilderness from is that.
Someone asked if we're on pace.
Go to PB.
We're slightly ahead of average. We lost a little bit of time against our PB on that one, but we're probably on average for a 105, 106.
For those who are curious, we're 14 seconds behind the world record right now. However, there is a 90-second time save that should be literally free in Chapter 6, the chapter after this one.
It was bad.
But
we also golded like all of that except for that. So
Yeah.
I'm not stressing about world record right now if it happens.
I am.
He's always stressing about world record. And when we world record, he's still not happy.
It's because we lost 90 seconds.
So we're about to break into a factory because the kids broke into a factory and we're cleaning up their mess. So,
You can go
yeah, this entire level was created by Michael Bay, and you'll quickly figure out what I mean by that.
No!
That is pretty tight timing there. Getting that skip to like jump over those cigarettes early can be pretty difficult.
I think that's the hardest.
One of the hardest ones,
actually. Yeah. Personally, I think it's the hardest.
Yeah, the timing on that one always terrifies me.
Yeah, but we're scrubs, so you know.
Oh, there you go. That's the first death.
They got you.
$10.
Chat has you. Don't worry. They'll keep you honest.
Thanks, everybody.
So now, for some reason, the kids are just hanging out in a factory.
For some.
Because didn't you hear the dogs barking? Because they were like, we saw the other animals. And they were like, there's dogs here. They're clearly just trying to hang out with some pooches. I don't blame them at all. It's like they've mistook this place for the Humane Society, I think.
The dog sounds are pretty angry, so I don't know about that.
They're angry because they want to be played with. That's all.
Sure.
Obviously.
So in this section here too, they've got to watch the smoke because if you hit it, it'll just knock you all the way down. And there are 3 stacks. But yeah,
just like that.
Just like that. So thank you for thanks for showing us. And you'll see at some points too during this run where they'll break off from each other, like when they're falling or transitioning into a screen, and that actually is like a teeny time save that they can do. And it's just so that if one Yarny is falling, his animation to like fall and get back up is a little bit slow. But if the other person breaks off, then they can kind of get a bit of a head start, and then the other person can zoop to them, or whatever it may be, to catch up.
We tried to do it right there. It did not work.
Well, I just got off too early, so I still had the fall damage like animation happening. Someone wants to see the front picture.
This entire place basically is on fire too.
I don't want to call OSHA. I don't want to know what OSHA would have to say about this factory.
Is Michael Bay getting Alicia Keys to do the soundtrack for this? My God.
Yeah, probably.
I'm glad you said
that's
it.
That's a collab I never
it.
knew I wanted. Okay, good.
No!
Oh no.
But see, I can keep moving.
Yeah, but you can see there that they broke off from each other, and so they got a bit of a head start getting back up here. That's basically what we were talking about.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Well, maybe they can do it again. See, there you go.
No.
You guys are getting spoiled
Okay,
with this.
I have a couple donations, if that's all right.
Go for it.
Well, I do this for the third time, yeah.
I've got $5 from Anonymous that says, all Yarnies are precious and deserve to be loved.
Agree.
And I also have $5 from P. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, so I guess I don't know if we explained this, but these main yarn characters, well, I guess the one that comes off the boat is the red one. His name is Yarny, and there's an Unravel one, and he is like the main character in that one, I guess, and that's who you play as. And it's not a co-op game, it's just a solo game. And so in this game, he's using his friends to help him save the children, I guess, is what's happening.
One gameplay mechanic that they got rid of in this game that was in the original, and I'm assuming largely why it was called Unravel, is that Yarny would actually unravel as you progress the level, and you would run out of yarn. You would have to solve puzzles and collect more yarn. But because we're attached to our friend and we have the power of friendship, we don't have. They took that mechanic out in the sequel, which I found very liberating in the gameplay of this one versus the original.
Yeah, definitely. They do still unravel, like you only have like a certain amount of yarn that you can actually use, like you don't just have yarn forever. So there'll be a point where like if the yarns get too far apart, they kind of like snap back a little bit. And you can see if you look at their little yarn bodies, they look much skinnier when they have less yarn. But it's definitely not like the first one where you have to grab up. Yeah, if you look at it, you'll... Yeah.
Learning something new every day.
I think I noticed it after playing the first Unravel because he got like real skinny and you had to pick up more yarn. And then I paid attention in this game and noticed that it happens too. It's just hard to see and you never see it because you're never that far away from your partner. And when you are, Yarny is so small that it's like you don't really know.
Yeah, the camera's panned out so far away whenever you're apart.
Yeah, so this whole thing is on a cycle. We tried to figure out how this works exactly, but I think it's just when you get there, it's just going to be the same every time. So, because there is a way right here to do this, to get this good cycle the entire way. So there's a set of 3 here, and there's another set on the other side. And exactly one time, I have made it the entire way without having to wait a cycle, and I don't know how to do it. And I couldn't figure it out. It was just like a miracle one day. So it is possible, but we don't know.
Don't do it.
Riles, $25. $25, Riles? YOLO box
One
skip?
try on... Right,
I want one
skip.
Yeah. You should give it a try.
Alright, we'll do it. We'll do it.
So box skip is this like very specific jump that you do. It's coming up here. So there's these boxes, and what you can do is jump from the right side of this box and jump into the box that's over to the right. So you jump on the side of it, and then you can get into the box over on the other side, and it just gives you a bit of a head start. Otherwise, you have to sit through this. It's kind of like an auto scroller, which you would have to anyway. You just have to sit through an extra box.
Also note, this is my favorite part of the entire game to watch people play for the first time, including Ryan and Ray. Because if you're watching someone play this on stream, you can just say, watch out for the tape right here, and this tape will come up, and 100% of people that play this game will be killed by that tape the first time, because it just like kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's really funny. And I love it. Makes me happy.
And there's like another cycle that he skipped to, these things that come down. Sometimes when you get there, I don't even know if you can determine when they're up or down, but anyway, he made it on a good cycle, so that's good.
I think the little mashers there, I think that's just you have to get there really fast.
And then be brave.
And this part sucks too, so.
All of this chapter sucks.
Well, this one's fine. The next one sucks. The next one's got things in the way that want to screw you over. So those spinning things in the center work the same as the smoke does, where they will knock you down. And nice, that was good. So you can actually, that was like a fast, I don't know, up on the box get. I don't know what you call that even.
I guess it's like a first cycle, like getting There's a couple of puzzles like this in this area where you're gonna have to tie knots in a specific order that will toggle different things. And then the person that tied the knots or whoever will release those knots one at a time and kind of allow the other Yarny to move about on the obstacles that you're toggling.
So this part gets really loud for some reason.
And the end of this chapter.
And the end of the chapter too, yeah.
This is where Optimus Prime gets revitalized at first. He hasn't shown up yet, but he's being put back together. Dude, look at that bonk.
What a
This
good
is
bonk. It's like the only
Transformer
RNG in the
factory.
whole game.
I think this, where you land on top of this thing, I think might legitimately be the only actual RNG in the entire game. It saves 1/10 of a second if you get a good bonk off the wall and land in the middle of it. And I will take that 1/10 of a second.
So now we're being chased by a cigarette through the factory.
He can't catch me.
You get chased by a lot of things in this game if you haven't already picked up on that. Like a turkey, a fish, cigarette. So you're doing a lot of running away from things, all in the name of friendship and working together.
Saving children.
Saving the animals.
Save the children. Kill the frames. Thankfully, that's not a choice we have to make in this game.
I have a bone to pick with the whole save the animals, kill the frames thing.
Okay.
The animals aren't real.
Yes, they are.
They're pixels.
No, they're real.
The frames are real.
No, those are fake.
I mean, time is a construct. That's fair.
If you're fast enough, you don't even see the frames.
I don't know how you could. He's wearing a baseball tee. Like, how would you care about the pixels?
I love baseball tees.
So now you can see that now the kids are getting yelled at by these factory workers now too. All of the adults in this game are dirt bags, basically. Just like in real life, you know, adults.
I almost
They're-
died. I didn't die.
Yeah, we're the
but-
worst. Oh, I guess they didn't see the kids up there.
Sable, do the things chasing. Yes. They'll pretty much
they
always...
really?
Well, if you stop, they will catch you. But it doesn't matter how fast you go, you can never outpace them. They'll always be really close by.
But if you go really slow, they'll just catch you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess like Yarny, you can't like speed up Yarny really.
It's about
In
to get
any
loud
way,
again,
like-
FYI.
He walks in like at the same speed basically. So there's no
Alright,
like
now we're-
run versus walk.
We're turning on Optimus Prime now. And like basically get his logo.
All it's missing is like an explosion, really.
No, we didn't go for a pokey, sorry.
Although we're getting fire in the next one, so
So much fire. So much fire.
maybe he directed both levels.
Though this game makes forklifts look so much cooler than they actually are. They look awesome in this game.
So true.
You got a lot of experience with forklifts, Mutsky?
All
that-
sorts. Dude.
Is that a thing you're passionate about?
That's something I did for work at some point.
No, fair enough.
I'm telling you, they're not that exciting.
Ooh. Let's
Don't
not quit the game.
And that's
sure
it.
they
We're
won't.
done.
Strategy, Cotton. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Nets are silly. Just the physics of anything climbable in this game are fallible at best.
All right. I hope you like fire. About to get hot in here.
We named this split Fire Festival. We're very cool.
I hate this chapter.
Yeah, and coincidentally, nobody's here either, so it's great.
That's true. Yeah, I hope you're all ready with that death counter, because if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this entire level, like we said, is just has a lot of fire in it. The Yarnies get only 2 chances to step in fire before they burn up. So you got to be careful when you're playing this casually. I think this is probably the place where people die the most because the fire is just very tumultuous.
Yeah, you're allowed to touch the fire twice before you burn up.
Like for a little tiny bit of time.
Later, we're going to do it like 10 times in a row.
This level
But still
really,
amazing.
starting with the last level, I guess, like the chapter before this and this chapter, really ups the amount of like opportunities for fatalities too. Like a lot of the puzzles in earlier chapters, like there's not a lot of ways to actually die in several of them, but in the factory and in Ashes to Ashes, there are, you know, an
A lot.
abundance. Yeah.
So we're actually going to miss the cutscene about how the fire starts. See those logs back there? Somehow they get released and they hit this electrical fence and a fire starts.
They're so
But we're
thin.
going to skip this cutscene by doing a zoop in the right spot. And very nice. Almost got the little sparkly thing too. And that actually saves like a good bit of time, that cutscene skip.
Yeah, that cutscene explains why the entire forest is about to catch fire. But since we didn't see it,
FYI, the
Yeah.
forest is on fire.
Who knows?
And now there's fire. It was magic. Ta-da!
as with everything
And,
bad that happens in this game, safe to assume it was the adult's fault.
Except I don't think it was.
Actually, yeah.
It was the kids being clumsy, maybe. But we're gonna pretend it wasn't. Alright. Yeah, so for some reason, I guess when you zoop while that tree is falling down, you just become invisible and the tree doesn't hurt you. So that's
I
great.
just wait like an extra half a second until he's above the tree, and then the tree is.
Yeah, I think when you're zooping, I think it just takes off the collision of the character that is doing the zoop while they're in the action of zooping, and so that's why you're able to like you there. You just like went through the ceiling, like that sort of thing.
He has died to that tree.
Yeah, and like we've had it happen too, and you can actually soft lock there as well, where like if you, I don't know, pull the tree down in a certain way and it doesn't come down the first time, when you transition the screen, it goes back to the tree screen and stays there. So it's, you gotta be careful with it, I guess.
But the good news for people new to the speedrun is I don't think I've ever found a soft lock in this game that required anything more than just restarting from the checkpoint, so it's really not a big time loss when you're new.
Safety swing, because I'm a coward.
It seems you're a wise man.
Listen, don't bring stuff like that up because the people don't know. They don't know the difference.
Fair
it's
enough.
fine.
Everything is going
It was
exactly
amazing.
according to plan.
Wow.
Frame perfect.
Oh no! Oh man!
Yeah, and here you're getting chased by a lot of the cigarettes as well.
GG. Good job not dying.
Alright, so here's where things get really spicy. So this is like the biggest fire section. It's a lot of embers actually, I guess. Not so much fire, but
So yeah, these embers you can touch just for a little bit of time.
yeah, if you stand on them or jump more than twice, then you'll burn up.
1, 2.
And you can see his toes on fire. That's your indication to like get off. Although I think if you put yarn in fire, it probably would burn faster than that, but I don't know.
It might depend on what kind of yarn, but yeah.
These yarnies have heart, so I think that they're the strongest kind of yarn. Exactly.
Here it comes.
Alright, so here, well not here, coming up soon they're going to be doing what we call log skip. So there's this giant log right here that you have to like roll, and on the underside of it there's a bunch of embers and fire. But they figured out a way where if you like do 2 jumps with the Yarny and then swap to the other one, you can just jump through the entire thing without dying. So that's actually a very hard trick, and they got it easy peasy. So pretty nice. It saves a good bit of time.
Was it just last
Yeah.
night that it took us 4
Yes, I got it. Yeah, last night in our last warm-up run, I think we died there 4 times.
It's a pretty nice skip. Like it really is kind of a slow progression to roll the log the whole way.
Yeah, and the log is also dangerous. Like it's not like it's, you know, the easy, like an easy way to get through it. It's still, you can still die pretty easily on the log if you hit the fire or the embers. So,
Although,
yeah.
shout out Riles, my little brother who runs this game solo. He does log roll skip by himself. which is just
Wow.
insane to me.
That's pretty amazing.
I mean, so do other solo runners, but I'm not related to them.
I thought you were gonna make another joke about Riles not having anyone to play with. When you said that. I was like, Ryan, don't salt no wound. Then you turned it into a compliment, and I was like, oh, that's sweet love, Riles.
That puzzle right there is the one that we lost literally 90 seconds to in our current world record.
And it's kind of nice too. For some reason, like, you know, there was a wall there that the spark got down, but they were already like past it. Like, for some reason during that cutscene, you can just like run to the right, which is kind of nice. You gain a little bit of time. This part is pretty scary casually, I think. It's just easy to die, but you know, we don't care.
I feel like half of this run is just asking each other who's going first.
Third base.
Sing.
Okay, your thing.
And this is a little bit tricky too, because you see that tiny bit of fire to the left of the magenta Yarny? You can die on that if you swing into it. And it doesn't look like you can, because it kind of looks like it's in the background. But yeah, we've died there so many times because I have forgotten that you can die there.
It's a pretty large hitbox for what it is, too.
That too, yeah.
There's definitely been times where you've jumped off and got burnt by it, where I was really surprised.
Look
All
at
right,
that horse.
this is a horse. There's a horse in the background there.
And we're going to
You
save
can
a bunch
tell
of
it's a
moose in
horse.
the barn.
You can tell it's a horse because of the way that it is. and it's pretty neat.
Yeah. So the explanation behind that is that Muskie and I were running this one time, and he saw it go by, and he was like, "A horse," and I was like,
It's a
"That's
majestic
moose."
horse, Emma.
Yeah.
What are you talking
and
about?
he
You're
like
only from
was
Canada.
serious though. Like he thought.
Oh, I was being completely serious. I definitely thought
Yeah.
it was a horse when we were playing. And then later, the level, it got worse because of what happens later in this level.
Yeah.
And I
Those
just
are
started
actual
getting made
horses
fun
later.
of. Yeah.
So here you're running away from fire. This building is burning up, and you're trying to get out of it before before
Swag.
you burn up. Yeah, that jump there's a little bit of swag. Usually you have to like go around it, but you can skip it. Also, the music here is fantastic. I said that the whole game's music is great, but
This song's great.
this song
Yeah, are
is
you
so
sure
good.
that 3 is better than this?
You didn't ask me if this was better than
I said, is
3.
3 the best music in the game?
Oh, that's fair.
I mean, I don't really think that I could choose. Like, I think there are some that I think are not as good, but
Alright.
honestly
that
love them all.
moose?
So now they're going to save these mooses. Yeah. The meese.
Meese. Yes, thank you.
Majestic mooses.
Yeah, I get made fun of for 2 things. The fact that I thought the moose was a horse and that I have a square head. Those are my foibles.
If that's the worst thing about you, I think you're doing okay.
It's a whole pack of mooses. By that I mean there's
All
2.
right. So we saved the horses, and the kids took the credit.
It
I was
wasn't
gonna say
doing
just
anything.
walk.
But
homie.
that's fine.
It wasn't doing anything.
They opened the door.
These
I guess we
entitled
can't-
brats think they
I know.
saved the day.
Not even a thank you. I can't
I
believe
know,
it.
oh my god.
That was awesome.
That was a really good chapter 6, you guys.
I'm looking at
I don't know,
the
that
timer,
looked
I'm
like
feeling
that was
good.
super slick.
Whew.
Don't look at your timer.
Too late.
It's too late. I already looked at that timer, and I'm feeling
Well-
good.
All right. The next chapter is the final chapter. And if you hated all that fire, don't worry, because we have a lot of water coming. And yeah, we're going to put out the fire with a ton of water.
Just envision what happened. The Battle of Isengard is about to unfold. Essentially is what's going to happen, all right? But instead of Ents, we've got Yarn kids, all right? And that's what's basically going to happen.
And just because the game wants to screw with you, if you've been paying attention, we've been moving left to right the entire time.
I guess
For the
we do it that
last 56 and a half minutes, I have been walking right. Now I'm going to go left for the last 8. Just 'cause.
Yeah, and you also get a brand new mechanic in the last 5 minutes of this chapter.
So
So
frustrating.
but I don't want to dog it too much because like I think it's great and it's fun. But it is just kind of funny that it's like, okay, you're in the very last section of the game, and here's a brand new mechanic we're going to teach you how to use. but you only get it there. So we were thinking maybe there was going to be like a new game plus where you could use it, or like an Unravel 3 where that was going to be part of it, but I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just
man.
here. And that's
Developers, if you're listening, Unravel 3
Double jump the whole time.
better be a thing.
That's the 3. 2 Yarnies and a double jump.
Hi, Snack. You guys see the snack?
Little baby snack.
Little baby snack. And now we're breaking into another building.
Well, because the adults were chasing them.
I
I'm
think
just
this is a
saying.
dam, right? This is supposed to be a dam.
We're gonna fix the
It
dam.
almost looks like a clock tower on the inside, but it's not.
We actually call the first puzzle here the clockwork puzzle. We're
Yeah,
gonna
it looks
skip
like a
the whole
clock.
puzzle.
It really does, though. That's kind of how I always look at it too. So, like,
We don't do this puzzle anymore.
Yeah, so there's this like large puzzle here. It's pretty complicated. It took us a while to figure it out casually. But once again, with the power of Zoops, you too can skip this puzzle.
We tried
And just-
so long to find a skip for this puzzle.
For a long
Yeah,
time,
it's-
we did
it's
a skip
time
for this puzzle
consuming.
that was slower than the actual solve, just because we hate doing that puzzle so much.
Yeah, it's a long puzzle, and it's just
remember
kind of
who-
annoying. It's a little bit finicky too.
Yeah. I don't remember who found the skip, but thank God for them.
I don't know what
I don't either.
this is.
Can you guys still see the game?
Nope.
Cool.
Great.
Oh, but it's on the stream. I don't have it in Discord though.
Awesome.
Okay.
we can just watch the stream until the cutscene if you want to refresh it during the water releasing.
Yeah.
So for now, they're going to be putting these little cog wheels you'll see kind of on these gears, which will allow them to operate these machines, and then use the machines that they're gaining control of from the power that's being given to them to progress through the areas one at a time. And there'll be a couple of screens that'll operate like this.
Okay, now we're
You got
good
it
now.
back?
Yep, thanks.
Okay. Well, that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. So there's these 2 levers here that you have to pull to release the dam. And in the past, there was some really big problems with them because it would do this cutscene, and then you would be like back inside, and you have to pull the levers again. It was weird. So,
Release the river.
and unfortunately, this section of the level has some fantastic music also, and it's just like a really perfect like ending. But for some reason, pulling the lever sometimes just causes this creepy ambient music to play. So
Yeah, there should be like beautiful,
yeah.
triumphant music here. It's wonderful.
I'm
Yes.
gonna
It's
shut
kind
up
of
for
a
a little
shame,
while.
really.
You're good. They're gonna
This section requires a fair amount of concentration, and I am on world record pace right now.
yeah, this is a very complicated section. It's got a lot of like you get. This is the new mechanic we were talking about though. This is the double jump that you get. So it'll reset whenever you touch a like anything you could swing from or touch the ground or the water. So basically, anytime you land or grab onto something, it'll reset, and it gives you these like strings here throughout the level that you can fling from. And so we're trying to utilize those in order to go fast. So sometimes, I don't know if Ryan will do it in this level, but you can like kind of mash the jump button along those, and it'll make you go across them super fast and kind of fling you a bit at the end. And that's like one way to save time. It's a little bit risky though, because you don't always know where you're going to end up.
Yeah, I don't really do it anymore because I'm bad at it.
Yeah, the timing window, the window to release and do it is really, really tight on some of them. And there are some that even if you do it, fairly well, because of how big some of the areas of fire are in the river, sometimes you just put yourself in a position that you are completely unable to do anything about because you've used your double jump and your trajectory is just, your trajectory is just taking you straight to
Yeah.
fire, water, and you're kind of done so. And you
Yeah.
have to do a reset. And some resets are kind of long and obnoxious to have to do again.
Also, I don't know if anybody was paying attention, but the kids just chucked an adult into the water.
Sure
Yeah.
did.
So,
He deserved it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also, to be fair, we do pull a couple adults out of the water later, so he might not know.
Yeah, but we don't know for a fact that it's the same guy. So,
He's probably fine.
best case scenario,
Let's-
attempted murder.
No, listen, hear me out, all right? It's not a hasty
There we go.
generalization. If adult
that
A is
goose
bad and adult B is bad, then all adults are bad. That's the rule, okay?
Yep. A-dab. Oh, wait, A-ab?
Ab.
So we're
Yeah, and
taking
also-
these river right past
Sorry.
all of the past chapters. You just saw the, as Munsky said, goose from chapter 4. We're gonna see the party from chapter 3 in a second.
Yeah, and we're utilizing things like the rocks and some of the slants on the rocks to gain a little bit of speed, although there's one rock that looks like it should give you speed and it just doesn't, and I've never understood why. And then there's fire inside the water too, that if you hit it, it's an instant death. So that's what really we're watching out for here. And I guess we should note too that time's coming up soonish.
Yeah, we'll give you a heads up.
Half, yeah. When we get to a really tall tree, we're getting close. That's that party from chapter 3. And then we'll get to town from chapter 2.
I did have a quick question from Anonymous who donated $5. Has F. Georgie got back on if his run is a world record?
You wouldn't know? Huh? Sorry?
Well, someone's trying to roll.
F. Georgie? It's a username. I'm not gonna be able to pronounce it quite right. Sorry.
$20.
Oh, that's
That's a
back
big
way up.
one. Oh, I tried
Actually,
to
how much
save
you
you.
want?
That's alright.
Yes, here is a very, very, very tall tree that you kind of got to climb up, and then you
Okay.
get to slide down it.
We're getting close.
Time is
stretch
coming
here.
up soon.
Time will be as soon as we pass through a gate at the end of this screen.
So,
You can just call it. Just call it.
Yeah.
It'll be right now, basically.
And
Time.
time, yeah.
And that is a world record.
Bam.
GG.
GG's.
Whew.
I guess you can quit the game forever now. You got a
We
104.
gotta do some PS4 runs. We need new PS4 time still. But 104.39.
Yeah, we got
according to our time.
104.39 on our timer. Old world record was 105.07, so about 28 seconds.
And then you probably lost like 7 seconds at the beginning when you were picking your yarnies.
No,
we
the
hadn't started
had
Yeah,
time
we
yet.
didn't
started.
start until we started.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's
Our chapter 1 was terrible.
Oh boy.
All right, so here, this is the good part of the run, or the good part of the game, I guess, because all the adults get beat up by the spark, and then you get to see all your Yarny friends that you saved along the way somewhere. I don't know where.
which is my favorite part of the game. So if you have a
Yeah.
favorite Keller, this is your time to shine. You get
Mhm.
the whole rainbow. Like, dude,
Pick
this
your
is the
favorite Yarny.
this is the Roy G. Biv of Yarny scenes. Like the Michael Bay scene has nothing on this. Honestly.
Yeah,
this
so
is like the
kind of
MC
the,
Escher scene. All right.
this is kind of the B story to the game. We've been watching in the background these kids, but while we've been doing that, we've been working our way up the lighthouse towards the top of the lighthouse because all of the other Yarnies were captured.
They've been trapped
there.
in the lighthouse, so there are some bonus levels we'll show you where you can actually save all the other Yarnies. And then all
Yeah,
together
so-
we can bring light back to the
Yeah.
lighthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually a really nice ending
Mhm.
message in this game that
I'll let it play for
I
a
just
second.
love. It is just the best ending.
This whole screen.
Yeah, this
just
is really
makes me
sweet.
happy.
This game is just the most wholesome
Yeah.
and wonderful, and I love it so much.
Like, we make fun of the kids killing a man in the end, but casually I definitely didn't notice that. So.
Since we finished 13 minutes under estimate, if we have a few minutes to kill, we did prepare because we thought we might. We prepared some challenge levels. There's 20 challenge levels in the game that are just absurdly difficult, and I practiced 4 of them. We can run through those if you'd like. No, we're not going to do poke. We're not going to do skateboard skip pokey.
No. Chat does want to know if you're happy with that run.
I'm pretty happy with that run.
Okay.
I still want a 103. I know that we have a 103 in us. Until I hear somebody tell me otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and assume I'm doing the challenge levels. So we're going to quit and load our second file.
Yeah, you can do like 1 or 2. How long would each one take?
Not very long. The longest one takes less than 2 minutes, assuming we get it first try. Most of them are like 30, 45 seconds.
Yeah, let's show about, I want to say 2 of them.
Let's do 2? Okay, we'll do the last 2 then.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna dip out because I'm not too familiar with these. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys can-
Yeah,
Thank you for
thank you,
everything.
Mutsky, thank you, Metatron, for doing commentary and introducing us to this game and just being two of the loveliest
I just
people
went the wrong way.
that I know.
I went the wrong way, dude.
What? No.
Yeah, thanks for having
Oh,
us,
we
GG,
did.
on your run,
Yep.
your world
Thank
record.
Thank
You
you
guys,
so much.
congrats. That was awesome. Godspeed.
Up again. Sorry.
So as you complete these challenge levels, the
There we go.
cool thing about them is you unlock additional heads.
Like head shapes and body shapes and
Yeah.
eye shapes, but I don't really care about the eyes.
So when you run through the game in a new file, you have to do. I think that's one first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you run through the game the first time, you have to use the 2 default head shapes. You have access to pretty much all the colors right away. But this gets you additional head shapes, additional body shapes, and eye shapes,
Yeah.
which, whatever. So here,
Nice.
you have to spend a whole lot of time.
When we did this casually, he did this in slow mo. Because
Yeah.
there is a slow mo.
Yeah, there's a slow motion mechanic in this game that we obviously don't use. But I had to do that because I have to wait for fire over here on the bottom left to go out. So once you get down to the bottom level, which isn't as easy as it looks.
So you can see this head that we're rescuing is the head that he has been using.
Mhm.
Right? So we have now unlocked that head.
Yeah, once you get down to the bottom level there, you have to jump backwards between, I think those are bullet casings, as far as I can tell,
don't know. Who
until all the
knows?
fire goes out. So that's that one.
And then we'll do one that we kind of.
I'm actually kind of surprised I got that first try.
I'm very impressed with that first try.
This one we actually do with both of us.
With some zoopy tricks.
Yeah, we cheese this level pretty good.
You're supposed to go all the way to the right, and then up, and then back over to the left. And instead, I just cancel them up there. Zoops are just the best.
Oh no! And I
that
died.
count?
Does that count? What do you think?
That's up to
Do
you.
I owe you $30 now?
We're gonna say yes.
I'm gonna say yes. I owe you $30. Please don't die. Please
you're
don't
gonna
die.
die again.
I'm good. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna get this switch, and it's gonna open that box up top. So now we can progress.
Oh, come on, man. And this next part is just so much fun. I love the second half of this one.
It's very silly.
We just have to work our way up.
There's
on.
no magic here.
Grab it!
Oh,
I missed! $40.
Oh. Can't believe you.
Bonk. Okay.
That's the other fun part about the challenge level. There is no
There are no
checkpoint.
checkpoints.
You just gotta do it all.
Well, most of them are really short, so it doesn't really matter if there's a checkpoint. But this one is one of the longer ones. Okay. This time for sure. No messing around.
I believe in you.
Serious business this time. Nope. Come on.
Nope.
I got
Oh,
it.
good
I got
catch.
it. I got it. I can do this all day.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, man. Swing me. Nah.
Good job.
Okay, and there's a cigarette coming after me from above, but I don't
Stops
worry about
there.
him because he just stops there
So it just means you don't have room to
for
jump up very
some
far.
reason. Now I have to get onto this thing.
Oh. Like we said, these challenge levels are so hard.
Very difficult. Come on, man. Get me on there.
Nope.
Got it. Oh no.
Aw, man. Thanks again, everyone, for the GGs.
There we go. Okay.
For hanging out. And for the turkey emotes.
Yeah, turkey emotes were great. I felt right at home. Okay. Now I'm going to tie a knot here. And then I'm
Tie a knot down
going to
there.
drop down and tie another one.
That's going to keep this in place. I'm going to do a big old blind swing.
Whew, I was getting dizzy.
Ready?
Okay.
Ooh, now I'm on the top of that cog, and another blind swing. You would never know it were there.
Okay, so now
look.
Ray is all the way up there. I have to cancel the 2 knots that I tied and then get
Just
up
do
to
it.
her real quick.
The beauty of Zeus.
Whee! Okay.
Look at that.
Whew.
That's how we do that one, Poke. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's how you do it legit. That's how we do it.
And that one's the head that I use. Look at that. Someone called this the Midna head the other day. And I was like, oh, that's why I like it so much. Because Midna is the best.
Oh, man. And that's Unravel 2, you guys. Yeah. Thanks so much for letting us showcase the game. I had fun. I hope you had fun.
Yeah.
Play this game, please. It is available in Steam.
It's
Just
on Switch,
recently.
it's on PlayStation.
It's on Switch and PlayStation. I don't know if it's on Xbox. It's also in the Origin store. That's who
yeah.
it was through originally. Steam is a fairly recent thing. So if you have an Origin account through EA, you can get it there. If you are interested in speedrunning, we have a Discord, like we mentioned earlier.
Everyone's super cool. Come
Everybody's
hang out.
super cool. We have a video tutorial on YouTube. That's
It's a little outdated, but
yeah,
it'll
it's
get
a little
you started.
outdated, but we'll make a new one, I think, too. Shout out to Midwest Speed Fest for having us. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for all the great work you're doing with Able Gamers. Raise money for that because it's friggin' awesome. And that's all I got.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. GG.
Have a good rest of the marathon, everybody.
Thank you, ThisGuyAreSick and Miss Ray, for an amazing run. Congrats on the brand new world record.
Thank you.